She wanted to be Marilyn Monroe, and for a while, she was. A blonde with a smile too bright for reality, Anna Nicole Smith rose from a diner in Texas to the covers of Playboy and the runways of Guess. Her curves, her voice, her innocence, everything about her felt like a dream America had seen before. But like all dreams, it came with a price. When the cameras flashed, she laughed. When they stopped, she fell apart. In the 1,990 seconds, Anna became a phenomenon, the new Marilyn, the symbol of beauty, rebellion, and excess. But beneath the glitter, she was lonely, broke, and desperate for love. So when she married Jay, Howard Marshall, an oil tycoon 63 years older than her, the world laughed. They called her a gold digger. She called it love. And when he died and left her nothing, the fairy tale turned into a courtroom war. Billionaires, lawyers, tabloids, all fighting over her body, her mind, her soul. She was mocked on talk shows, humiliated on television, turned into a spectacle for the world to consume. But Anna wasn't stupid. She knew what they were doing. She once said, "They want me to be a joke, but I'm smarter than they think." Then, in 2007, the story ended the way so many Hollywood dreams do, alone, in a hotel room with a cocktail of pills and broken promises. To the world, she was a punchline. To herself, she was still that Texas girl, chasing the American dream. Everyone thought they knew Anna Nicole Smith. But the truth behind her story, the woman beneath the blonde, is far darker and far sadder than anyone ever told. Before the fame, before the scandal, before the world turned her into a spectacle, Anna Nicole Smith was just Vicki Lynn Hogan, a quiet girl from a small Texas town that never dreamed much beyond the county line. She was born in 1,967 inches, Mexia, Texas, to a teenage mother and a father who soon disappeared. She grew up poor, shy, and restless, the kind of girl who looked at magazines and believed they were maps to freedom. By the time she was 17, she had dropped out of school, married a fry cook named Billy Smith, and given birth to a son, Daniel. But the fairy tale of small-town love quickly faded. She wanted more, not money, not fame, but escape. When she moved to Houston, she found herself waiting tables at a diner, exhausted but still dreaming. Then, one day, a customer, a photographer, told her she could model. At first, she laughed. Then, she said yes. That yes changed everything. She started posing for local ads, then tried out for Playboy, sending photos she took herself in a borrowed swimsuit. Within months, she was chosen as Playmate of the Month and then, in 1993, Playmate of the Year. Overnight, Vicki Lynn Hogan disappeared. In her place stood Anna Nicole Smith, a name invented for the spotlight, a body sculpted for America's desire. Her look was classic Hollywood platinum blonde hair, full lips, curves that defied gravity. The camera adored her. So did fashion houses. Guess jeans made her their signature model, capturing her like a living resurrection of Marilyn Monroe. She didn't just remind people of Marilyn, she became Marilyn for a new generation. The innocence, the sensuality, the sadness behind the smile, all of it was there, and she leaned into it, believing she could control the dream. But like Marilyn, she didn't realize the dream was already controlling her. Beneath the glamour, her life was unraveling. Her fame came with pressure, the late nights, the dieting, the loneliness of being both worshipped and ridiculed. She began relying on prescription drugs, using them to stay calm, to sleep, to smile. The same pills that helped her survive would one day destroy her. Then, at a Houston strip club in 1991, her story took a turn that even Hollywood couldn't have scripted. She met J. Howard Marshall, an 86-year-old oil billionaire. He adored her instantly. She made him laugh. He gave her gifts, attention, affection, the kind she'd been searching for her whole life. To her, it was love. To the world, it was scandal. When they married in 1994, the headlines were merciless. Playmate marries billionaire grandfather. But Anna didn't care. She said, "He saw me when no one else did." Then, barely a year later, he died. And suddenly, the blonde dream became the villain in America's favorite morality play. The court said she didn't deserve a penny. The press said she didn't deserve respect. But Anna Nicole wasn't done fighting for his estate, for her name, for her son. And that fight would become the stage where her beauty, her pain, and her tragedy would all collide, live, in front of a world that refused to look away. When Anna Nicole Smith became famous, she didn't just enter the spotlight, she swallowed it whole. By the mid-1990 seconds, her face was everywhere. Billboards, TV talk shows, perfume ads, late-night punchlines. The Texas waitress had become America's favorite fantasy and its favorite target. To the public, she was larger than life. The new Marilyn Monroe, dripping in diamonds, laughing too loudly, kissing too many men. But behind the smile, Anna was drowning. Her fame was built on contradiction, adored for her beauty, punished for her ambition. People didn't want to understand her. They wanted to consume her. When J. Howard Marshall died in 1995, everything changed. She expected to be taken care of, but his family cut her out of the will completely. The headlines turned cruel. Gold digger loses the jackpot. The tabloids followed every hearing like it was a circus. Anna insisted it wasn't about money, it was about respect. "He loved me," she said, "and they can't stand that I made him happy." For nearly a decade, she fought in court widow against billionaires, the blonde against the empire. Each lawsuit, each appeal made her more famous and more fragile. The cameras never left her, and she started to perform for them. Her voice grew slower, her body heavier, her smile more forced. Pills became her armor, and the pills kept increasing. In 2002, she reinvented herself again, this time on television. The Anna Nicole Show aired on E! Network, turning her chaos into entertainment. Millions watched her stumble through her mansion, slur her words, and argue with her assistants. They laughed. But the laughter wasn't funny. It was the sound of a woman being eaten alive by her own fame. By then, she had lost almost everything. Her legal battles continued, her fortune evaporated, and her health declined. But one thing still gave her purpose: her son, Daniel. He was quiet, polite, the opposite of her chaos. She once said, "He's my reason for living. If I lose him, I lose everything." Then, in 2006, Anna gave birth to a baby girl, Danielyn, in the Bahamas. For a moment, she seemed happy again. But just 3 days after the birth, her world shattered. Her son Daniel, her only constant, was found dead in her hospital room, sitting beside her bed, a toxic mix of antidepressants and methadone. He was 20. Anna screamed for days. She stopped eating, stopped sleeping. The photos from that week don't look like a mother in mourning. They look like someone whose soul has already left her body. After Daniel's death, the chaos returned tenfold. Paternity lawsuits, inheritance battles, whispers of addiction. The same tabloids that mocked her now circled like vultures, counting down to the inevitable headline. And it came sooner than anyone expected. On February 8, 2007, Anna Nicole Smith was found unconscious in her hotel room at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Florida. She was 39, surrounded by prescription bottles, energy drinks, and scattered photographs of her son. The cause: accidental overdose. But there was nothing accidental about it, because by then, the world had already taken everything it could from her: her love, her privacy, her peace. The girl who had once dreamed of becoming Marilyn Monroe had fulfilled the prophecy completely. A blonde, adored and destroyed by the same dream. The world thought it already knew how Anna Nicole Smith's story ended: a blonde bombshell, gone too soon, another tragedy of fame. But the truth was far messier, darker, and more human. When she was found lifeless in that Florida hotel room on the 8th of February 2007, the scene was chillingly familiar. A prescription bottle here, a half-empty glass there, a silent television flickering with static. It was as if she had been living in a loop that started decades earlier, one that began the day she said, "I want to be like Marilyn." The autopsy said, accidental overdose, 9 prescription drugs in her system, sleeping pills, painkillers, anti-anxiety medication. But it wasn't just the medicine that killed her. It was the world that prescribed it. In the days that followed, chaos exploded. Lawyers, lovers, exes, and opportunists swarmed. Everyone wanted something: custody of her daughter, control of her estate, ownership of her image. No one wanted her truth. At the center of it all was Howard K. Stern, her lawyer and companion, who claimed to be the father of her baby, Danielyn. Another man, photographer Larry Burkhead, insisted the child was his. What followed was one of the most grotesque public battles in tabloid history. A televised tug-of-war over an infant, fought in the shadow of a woman not yet buried. And while the headlines screamed, "Who's the father?" the real story was being buried. The fact that Anna had been spiraling for years, surrounded by people who blurred the line between caretaker and enabler. Her entourage provided her with pills under fake names. Doctors prescribed medication as if they were signing autographs. The same system that profited from her fame profited from her pain. The parallels to Marilyn Monroe were impossible to ignore. Both women, blonde and breathtaking, raised up by a culture that worships beauty and destroys the woman behind it. Both found dead in rooms that were too quiet. Both declared accidental. Both still surrounded by unanswered questions. But there was one difference. Anna knew it was happening. In one of her final interviews, she said softly, almost to herself, "They want to see me fall. They don't want me happy, but I'm not going to give them that." She smiled, as if trying to convince herself she still had control. But control was the one thing fame never gave her. When her body was flown back to the Bahamas, reporters outnumbered mourners. Cameras recorded her coffin being lowered into the ground beside her son Daniel, the only place she said she'd ever find peace. And maybe, in some tragic way, she did. But the aftermath was cruelly fitting. Even in death, Anna Nicole was turned into property. Her image sold, her story re-edited, her legacy rewritten. She had been chasing the American dream her whole life, only to prove it was never meant for women like her. Because in America, the dream loves you only as long as you're shining. Once you fall, it forgets you ever existed. From this channel's perspective, Anna Nicole Smith's story is more than a tabloid tragedy. It's a mirror reflecting everything America worships and destroys at the same time. She was sold as a fantasy, the blonde bombshell, the modern-day Marilyn, the living embodiment of the American dream. But the truth is that Anna didn't just play the dream, she was consumed by it. She showed us what happens when a woman becomes a brand before she's allowed to be a person. In the 1,990 seconds, Anna was marketed as everything America wanted: beautiful, rebellious, sexy, a little dangerous. But what happens when the fantasy starts speaking? When the woman behind the makeup starts to want more than admiration, when she wants respect, control, love, that's when the dream turns. That's when the system starts to break her. Hollywood never forgives imperfection. The tabloids didn't follow Anna because they loved her. They followed her because they could smell the fall coming. Every stumble, every slurred word, every tear became entertainment. Her suffering was televised, her breakdown monetized. It wasn't journalism, it was cruelty disguised as curiosity. Anna's tragedy isn't just that she died young, it's that she died performing. Even when she was exhausted, humiliated, and drugged beyond recognition, she was still playing the role the world had written for her. And when the show was over, everyone moved on, except her. In a way, Anna was punished for daring to live out loud, for trying to be more than the joke the media made her, for wanting to be seen as a woman, not a caricature. Her story forces us to ask an uncomfortable question. How many women like her, from Marilyn Monroe to Britney Spears, have we destroyed in the name of entertainment? Anna Nicole Smith was never the dumb blonde people made her out to be. She was sharp, funny, loving, and painfully aware of her own myth. She once said, "I believe in the American dream, I just think mine got a little twisted." And maybe that's what makes her story timeless. She was the dream personified and the nightmare that came after. This channel believes Anna's life is a warning wrapped in glitter, a reminder that behind every fantasy lies a fragile human being trying to survive the applause. She wasn't just the blonde who played the American dream. She was the woman who proved it was never real to begin with. There's a photograph, soft light, blurred edges, Anna Nicole Smith smiling at the camera, her platinum hair glowing like a halo. For a second, she looks at peace. But when you stare longer, you can see it, that flicker of sadness hiding behind the glamour. It's the same look Marilyn had. The same look that belongs to every woman who was loved more for how she looked than who she was. Anna's story didn't end in that hotel room. It kept going through the headlines, through the courtroom fights, through the baby daughter she left behind. Danielyn, the little girl the world once fought over, grew up far from Hollywood, carrying a face that looks achingly like her mother's. A reminder that even broken dreams leave behind something beautiful. Today, when people look back on Anna Nicole Smith, they remember the chaos, the laughter, the scandals, the tears. But maybe that's not what she should be remembered for. Maybe her real legacy lies in what she revealed about us, about how easily we mistake spectacle for story, and how willing we are to turn women into myths just so we don't have to understand them. Anna wanted to be famous, yes, but she also wanted to be loved, to be seen, to be enough. And in that, she wasn't so different from anyone else. Her tragedy wasn't that she failed to live the American dream. It was that the dream failed her because it was never designed to hold real people, only perfect illusions. Now, when the world remembers her, it's not the courtroom or the headlines that linger. It's the image of that Texas girl laughing too loud, loving too hard, chasing a dream she thought could save her. Some stories are written in light. Hers was written in neon bright, beautiful, and gone too soon. Some stories were never meant to be known. But now, you know,